Yekindar seems set to leave Virtus.pro, and there is a lot of action to catch you up on from the Blast Premier Spring Showdown. My name is Kingdems, and I will regularly be helping my talented co-host Heku to bring you HLTV Peek, the show where we summarise all of the biggest news in the CSGO scene. Without further ado, let's get into it. Kicking things off with a piece of news relating to the HLTV family, Dust2.br launched this week, a sister site to HLTV focused on all things relating to Brazilian CS. You can not only stay up to date with all news relating to the Brazilian scene and follow the important matches, but you can also get involved in discussions on the forums. Make sure to check it all out at Dust2.br. The Russian invasion of Ukraine has created waves across the Counter-Strike scene, causing issues for organisations such as Na'Vi, Virtus.pro and Gambit. For VP and Gambit, this has included their teams being unable to compete under the organisation's banners. Last week, we brought you the news that Gambit's solution was to sell their roster to the American organisation Cloud9. And it came to light this week that Virtus.pro are likely to lose a portion of their roster as well, namely their star rifler, Yekindar. The young star, who was the 8th best player in the world last year, according to HLTV's top 20 players list, had already recently revealed in an interview with Latvian outlet Sportacenters.com that his future with the organisation was uncertain. In a separate interview, the VP General Manager Sergei Glamazda stated that Yekindar had been under the worst pressure of all of the players due to his nationality. Since those interviews, Deserto has come out with a report suggesting that Yekindar will be considering his future after the PGL Major Antwerp, and sources tell HLTV that a split with the organisation is the most likely outcome. Being a highly regarded player with a uniquely aggressive style, and speaking both Russian and English, it is likely that the player will not be short of suitors should he decide to make the move. Where exactly could Yekindar end up? Make sure you let us know your predictions down in the comments. In other news, NIP announced a revamp of their Academy squad this week, with stalwarts of the Young Ninjas ENCE, fuzi and Sapec all making their way out of the lineup. Coming in to replace them are 17-year-old rifers Maxter and Adam B, as well as 15-year-old Prospect and Orpa, temporary. And yes, that does make me feel old. NIP have made plenty of use of their Academy roster in the past 12 months, with both ENCE and fuzi having spent time with the main squad. In the case of fuzi, there were some pretty notable results during his tenure with the main team, including a second place finish at IEM Winter last year and more recently a top 4 at ESL Pro League Season 15. The young Sapec has already found himself a new home, having played with JW and Flusher's Hellslayers lineup since March. As for ENCE and fuzi, make sure you drop a comment letting us know where you think they will end up. Moving across the pond to talk about a little bit of North American news, EG have struggled in 2022 with their current roster, having failed to qualify for multiple events including the Major and IEM Dallas, and they have found themselves dumped out of every event they have attended early doors. The organisation seems to have decided to take a somewhat radical approach to this problem, and they are looking to sign Carpe Diem and Party Astronauts as Academy rosters. The Carpe Diem roster is said to be further along in those talks, with the Party Astronauts move unlikely to materialise in the near future. Whilst it's an interesting and potentially innovative move to go for a 15-man lineup, Evil Geniuses may experience problems further down the line with this approach. ESL, who are the organiser who is responsible for the vast majority of the American circuit, have taken a firm stance on not allowing organisations to have multiple teams competing in their competitions. Maybe Evil Geniuses can pick up a few wins playing 15 versus 5. Stay tuned to see how this news develops. Legendary German in-game leader GobB will be replacing NKJ as the head coach of Big's CSGO lineup. GobB has previously been a player and an academy coach for Big, and most recently was part of the organisation's Valorant squad. The godfather of German CS, who previously led a majority German lineup to the grand finals of ESL 1 Cologne, said that it was time to follow his heart and return to the game that made him the person he is today. With Big on an upswing in form already, and adding a legend to the head coach spot, how far could they go in the PGL Major Antwerp? And finally, there was a busy week of action in the Blast Premier Spring Showdown, both in EU and in NA. A brutal single elimination bracket left no room for error, and there was only one spot in the spring finals on the line for each region. The European edition of the event saw ENCE emerge victorious, continuing their recent excellent run of form that of course included a finals appearance at ESL Pro League Season 15. They marched through a very difficult bracket that included Copenhagen Flames, who are in good form themselves, having recently secured a legend spot for the Major, Heroic, another legend spot holder, and the much improved Astralis lineup. ENCE had a monumentally long route to get this far in the Blast Spring circuit, having gone through multiple qualifiers just to get here, as is referenced by this somewhat tongue-in-cheek tweet by their in-game leader, Snappy. Joining them from the NA portion of the event is Pain Gaming, who completed a surprise run through the Spring Showdown and completed it in dramatic fashion with a 2-0 sweep of the best team in the Americas right now, Furia. That was not the only scalp that Pain Gaming managed to take during the event, as they defeated both MIBR and Liquid before they faced the Brazilians of Furia. It was a special thing for Pain Gaming to beat both the best North American team and the best Brazilian team on their way to the Blast Spring Finals, and they surely deserve their spot for all of that hard work. That means the team list for the $425,000 event is now complete and will feature the best teams in the world right now, like FaZe and Na'Vi, alongside household names such as G2 and Vitality. That event will be taking place in Lisbon, Portugal, and will go down in June. So who do we think will be taking that Blast Spring trophy home? As always, let us know your opinions in the comments down below. And that's everything from this week's episode of HLTV Peek. Remember, if you want to stay up to date with all of the latest Counter-Strike news, the place to go is HLTV.org. And as always, make sure you re-peek in future for another episode. Until then, bye for now.